Hi, it's Barry here. I want to invite you to my next course, which is on the subject of changing the internal dialogue or changing the negative voice inside your client's head. This is such an important part of therapy because so many clients will have a voice inside their head that is the problem. It'll either be an anxious voice that will get them all uptight and cause them to have panic attacks. It could be a voice that gives them doubt, that says you can't do something. It could be the voice of, I'm not good enough. And as long as the client has that voice and they're paying attention to that voice, it's going to be really difficult to create change. And a lot of hypnotherapists and certainly NLP practitioners work a lot on the visual aspects, the visual picture and creating images. But a lot of times the problem's caused through an internal voice. And if someone's got a critical voice, it can cause all sorts of problems from self-esteem to anxiety to depression. And so in this particular course, we're going to learn about how to change the internal dialogue. So we're going to look at what works and also, just as importantly, what doesn't. There's some strategies from things like CBT which kind of get you to try and argue with that internal voice. Well, good luck with that. If you've ever tried to argue with someone, either in real life or on the internet, you know that's an exercise in futility. So to try and argue with yourself, it's like trying to solve a thought with another thought. It's never going to work. We're also going to be looking at how to shift attention. This is obviously a big thing, is that if you're paying attention to that internal voice and you're listening to it, then it's going to really affect you. So we're going to look at strategies that we can shift the person's attention. We're going to look at how you actually even identify that the internal voice is the problem. So we're going to look at strategies how to uncover the internal voice. We're then going to look at reframing it. Like everything else, a lot of times behind the behavior, there's a positive intention. So if we can find out what the positive intention is behind the inner voice, then we can create change that way. So it's really important thing. So rather than, again, fight the inner voice or argue with the inner voice, if we find out what the intention is and come up with new ways of achieving that intention, then that inner voice can become a guide, that can become a resource, and it becomes really, really useful for them. We're going to look at the NLP strategies of how to use submodalities with the internal voice, about changing maybe the location, changing the tonality, changing the rate and speed. We're going to look at all those sorts of things, because that, just in the same way as if you working with a visual submodality, and if you make the picture bigger and brighter, if you change the internal sound, the submodalities, it can have a very, very profound change on how the client feels and behaves. We're going to look at probably one of the big ones that comes up so many times when I'm working with clients, and that's the voice of, I'm not good enough. This turns up all the time when I'm working with clients, and you've got to have a strategy for dealing with this. And it's a really easy way of dealing with it. And it's one of those things that is around in virtually everybody. If you read biographies of famous people, at certain points in their life, they'll have internal voice of self-doubt saying, I'm not good enough. So we've got to have a really good way of working with that. So whenever that voice comes up, we can deal with it easily. We're also going to look at the internal voice that often blocks people, like I can't X, I can't this, I can't that. So we're going to look at strategies how you can change that so that they can do those things, and it opens up possibilities for them for making changes. We're also going to look at strategies for calming the anxious voice. I work a lot with people with anxiety and panic attacks, and you can pretty much guarantee that one of the ways that they're making themselves anxious is to talk to themselves 100 miles an hour. If you've got a little voice in your head going wah, 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 all the time, it's going to make you really anxious all the time. So if you learn how to do this, you can calm people's anxiety. You can help them sleep better, because typically if someone's got insomnia, they've got a little voice in their head going, if you don't go to sleep soon, you'll be tired all day tomorrow, and it's racing. Can you imagine going to sleep with a little voice in your head going, if you don't go to sleep now, you'll be tired all day tomorrow, and the whole day is going to be ruined. It's not going to be easy to sleep like that, right? So we're going to learn how to calm the internal voice. Not necessarily changing the words, but we're going to calm the internal voice. Also, we're going to look at tonality. This is really important. If you're trying to do something and you're trying to get yourself motivated and you've got a voice in your head that's nagging you with a nagging tonality, that's going to be really hard to motivate yourself in a positive way. But if we can change the tonality, it can make all the difference in the world. So in this webinar, it's going to be about 2 hours long, like my previous ones. You'll get a full manual with all the techniques and methods in, so you can apply this with your next client. If you can't make it live, it will be recorded, so you'll get the recording the following day, and then you can look at that at your heart's content for however long you want to look at it. You also get the manual, and you get email support as well. So I hope to see you soon. This is going to be this is a brand new webinar with all the new material in it. So I hope to see you soon. If you have any questions, pop them in the comments box below, and I'll be glad to answer them for you. And if you have any other questions, you can email me as well. So I hope to see you soon. It's going to be a great webinar. You know it's going to be absolutely full and packed with useful methods that you can use from day one. So I hope to see you then.